Who say this isn't true?
Yes. Yes.
Might they be right?
No.
How do you know they're not right?
Well, because the Earth is getting hotter.
Where do you learn this?
I saw the Al Gore video.
Save Mother Earth with Al Gore's traveling global warming show.
And the Oscar goes to An Inconvenient Truth.
The global warming documentary featuring Vice President Al Gore has been seen by millions. People have proclaimed him a prophet, a cultural icon, a conquering hero.
This is a problem that our country must solve. We need to come to grips and get a handle on it, or my Oscar will soon be underwater.
The Oscars were followed by other worldwide media events.
You are Live Earth.
With all this hoopla, it's no surprise that 86% of Americans say global warming is a serious problem.
Save Mother Earth with Al Gore's traveling global warming show. Do it for babies, 'cause when they're old ladies, there won't be no snow. The scientists know, this bar graph says so.
You are a true champion for the cause, Mr. Gore.
And last week, he won a Nobel Peace Prize.
Global warming is now, by anybody's measure, a crisis.
Our world is changing. With change comes business opportunity. Colonial First State is leading the way with its new Global Sustainability Fund, a fund managed by a team of investment experts, co-founded by Al Gore. Co-founded by Al Gore. Co-founded by Al Gore. Sustainable investment isn't just a feel-good exercise. It can be a smart way to deliver long-term returns.
And the global warming alarm is dressed up as science, but it's not science. It's propaganda.
There's no direct evidence which links 20th century global warming to anthropogenic greenhouse gases.
We're just being told lies. That's what it comes down to.
You can't say that CO2 will drive climate. It certainly never did in the past.
If the CO2 increases in the atmosphere as a greenhouse gas, then the temperature will go up. But the ice core record shows exactly the opposite. So the fundamental assumption, the most fundamental assumption of the whole theory of climate change due to humans is shown to be wrong.
The whole thing stinks.
Man-made global warming is no longer just a theory about climate. It is the defining moral and political cause of our age. Campaigners say the time for debate is over. Any criticism, no matter how scientifically rigorous, is illegitimate, even worse, dangerous.
We have Holocaust deniers, we have climate change deniers, and to be honest, I don't think there's a great deal of difference.
Deniers are confusing the issue and delaying solutions.
Often they're accused of being purchased by a well-funded denial machine.
These corporate toadies lying to you and telling you that global warming doesn't exist.
The scientific evidence does not support the notion that climate is driven by carbon dioxide, man-made or otherwise. Everywhere you are told that man-made climate change is proved beyond doubt. But you are being told lies, 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 lies. This is the story of how a theory about climate turned into a political ideology.
See, I don't even like to call it the environmental movement anymore, because really it is a political activist movement, and they have become hugely influential at a global level.
Patrick Moore is considered one of the foremost environmentalists of his generation. He is co-founder of Greenpeace.
The shift to climate being a major focal point came about for two very distinct reasons. The first reason was because by the mid-'80s, a majority of people now agreed with all of the reasonable things we in the environmental movement were saying they should do. Now, when a majority of people agree with you, it's pretty hard to remain confrontational with them. And so the only way to remain anti-establishment was to adopt ever more extreme positions. When I left Greenpeace, it was in the midst of them adopting a campaign to ban chlorine worldwide. Like I said, you guys, this is one of the elements in the periodic table, you know. I mean, I'm not sure if that's in our jurisdiction to be banning a whole element.
Destroying the wall were soon down.
The other reason that environmental extremism emerged was because world communism failed, the wall came down, and a lot of peaceniks and political activists moved into the environmental movement, bringing their neo-Marxism with them, and learned to use green language in a very clever way to cloak agendas that actually have more to do with anti-capitalism and anti-globalization than they do anything with ecology or science.
The left have been slightly disoriented by the manifest failure of socialism and indeed even more so of communism as it was tried out. And therefore they still remain as anti-capitalist as they were.
The hypothesis of the day that we've already started to test by Chris is that human carbon dioxide emissions are causing dangerous climate change. That's the hypothesis that's in the newspaper every day. Note, this is not a hypothesis about pollution. Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant. It's not about sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, particulate carbon and so on. They're all things we should worry about and deal with. The global warming hypothesis we're testing is not about pollution. Is it warming or not? And I look at them and I say, it depends. They look back at you and they think, you smart ass. I'm not in the least being clever. Profoundly, it depends. Here's what it depends on. This is data from ice cores in Greenland for the last 15,000 years. So here's 16,000 years ago here. This is the last ice age. Here we are today, modern time here. And the red curve is temperature measured from those ice cores. And you see it was significantly colder than today back here, and then it's warming up until about 10,000 years ago. And about 10,000 years ago we embark on this period of time geologists call the Holocene, where broadly it's about the same temperature as today. So the question is global warming happening? Well, let's stick a line through there, and there it is, from 16,000 years ago, it's warming since 16,000 years BP. I think the warmers are right. If you fit that line, it's warming for the last 16,000 years. Not a very sensible line to fit. So let's fit the line now between the last 10,000 years, the warm period we live in called the Holocene. And surprise, surprise, it's cooling. So for 10,000 years it's been cooling. Well, Mr. Howard's focused on a slightly shorter period of time than 10,000 years, so you wouldn't get anywhere talking to him about that. So let's come down to the last 2,000 years, the Christian era, this little box in here, which I've exploded up. And we'll fit a line, and lo and behold, it's still cooling, and it's cooling at a faster rate. Well, 2,000 years, that's still too long. So let's take the last 700 years. It's called the Little Ice Age because we see here it warmed and cooled and warmed again. This is the period we call no change at all. Stasis since 700 years ago. And now we get to what the warmers want us to get to. Look at that, going up like a rocket. We were right. Global warming's happening. But Chris showed us this. There's a little bit of a problem. If we go to the last 10 years, sorry, the last 8 years, it's stasis again, like the Little Ice Age. There's another problem, which is, if we look at all those lines, they're statistically significant except for lines 5 and 6. Why are 5 and 6 not statistically? Because they're too short a period of time over the data set. There's plenty of places where the temperature's going up at this rate, back here and back here and back here. This is absolutely not unusual.